Hello everybody, welcome back to another Be Kizzy video. This is actually kind of a different video. This is kind of more like a commentary over some gameplay that you guys are going to see of Modern Warfare 2. But I just wanted to talk about the current state of the game. So, I've been playing COD for many years. I've actually been playing it since the original Call of Duty World at War. And I've played tons of great games from Call of Duty, tons of bad games, and honestly, I'm looking at this as of right now, and I just don't really see, maybe myself playing this game, I'd say, often as much anymore. I mean, I feel like right now Call of Duty's current state is kind of dying. I mean, it was kind of confirmed if you look up the Steam charts for this game, which I do have it on. The Steam charts every single day, they're showing the player counts are dropping, and it's due to a lot of different factors that have been going on. I mean, we got this game right when it released without, red dots on the minimap, a very complex system of getting and unlocking guns. It just was too foreign. People like the old Call of Duties. People like when, back in the OG Modern Warfare 2 from 2009, people were able to just put, one attachment, maybe two attachments on a gun, and, you'd run with it. But nowadays, you can put up to 5 attachments on a gun. I believe literally in BO4, I think you were allowed to put 10 attachments on a gun. So it was insane. Actually, I don't know if it was BO4 or Modern Warfare 2019, but there was a Call of Duty I know at some point where you were able to put 10 attachments on a gun. People don't really like this, and now there's tuning on guns and attachments now, and it's just not what it used to be. I'm looking at gameplay, and the way this game plays is, I would say, compared to Modern Warfare 2019, is fairly slow. When you jump around, you can't really bunny hop anymore. When you jump around and aim in, it takes a lot more longer to actually aim in when you're jumping and actually aiming in. So people don't like that. It just seems slower. So I don't really enjoy myself playing the new Warzone, compared to, the Warzone back in 2019. I actually liked that Warzone a lot. I liked Rebirth a lot. Rebirth Island, I love that map, and I actually loved getting on Call of Duty to play Rebirth, to play Warzone. But I found myself, I'm not having that same experience anymore. I'm getting on the game, and I grinded out the Orion camo, and it's just, after that, now what? After I grinded Orion camo, now what do I do? I mean, I know I can just play for fun, but back in the old Call of Duties, there was, even if you gotten the mastery camo, or actually there wasn't even a mastery camo back in the day, it was just not platinum, diamond, or gold. People still had tons of fun, tons of content to play. I mean, this game literally launched without Warzone. It launched with a ton of modes that were not included, like hardcore. We had, for some reason, tier 1. God knows why they included tier 1. This is a game that I truly thought was going to be it. I thought that maybe this game was going to be amazing. Don't get me wrong, it still is pretty good and, pretty fun to play, especially since, they introduced ranked play. But, the way this game is in its current state, I don't really see myself playing it for too long. The only reason why I'm even getting on this game is to really just play ranked with my friends, since they just recently introduced it. But other than that, maybe this gameplay. But I'm not really finding myself, getting on this game to, play it and enjoy it. I feel like every single lobby I get into, everybody's sweating their butts off. I can't just sit down and play and, enjoy myself nowadays, compared to, back in, Black Ops 1, Modern Warfare 2, Modern Warfare 3, I was able to just join an affected lobby in MW3, sit back, relax, and try and go for a Moab. Those were the days I was able to just sit back and relax. But, now, I'd say within the past maybe 3 or 4 Call of Duties, especially since that skill-based matchmaking, I can't just sit down and relax anymore. I mean, this is just a regular pub game, and people are sweating, and I have to sweat back too. So I do believe Call of Duty needs to do a lot of different things in order for, a ton of players to maybe get back into the groove of Call of Duty. But, for example, include the red dots on the minimap. The only way you're able to see red dots on a minimap is with a UAV, I believe. And, their main claim about that was that they don't want you know, you to be punished for using a gun without a suppressor. But you know, this is how it's always been. You're either gonna rock a suppressor on a gun, you know, take that chance, or you're not. And you know, that's just what comes with it. But you know, the only way you're able to see people on a mini map nowadays is by UAV, and that's not how it's supposed to be in my eyes. You know, this is definitely straying far away from the roots of Call of Duty, and you know, it's definitely hurting its value and its reputation. I know a lot of players, especially, you know, CDL players or pro players, you know, they're not feeling this game either. You know, the way this game plays is, it's unlike any other Call of Duty in my opinion. The score streaks aren't really that rewarding. I'm not really sure as to why they always include this Juggernaut kill streak if nobody ever puts it on. And if you do get a kill streak, for example, I'm not sure what it's called in this game. I think the gunship. If you get the gunship in this game, people just leave. You know, after all that work, all that hard work of you getting, you know, that kill streak, however many kills that is, 13, 14 kills to get that, you know, gunship. People just leave. There's no penalty for leaving a game nowadays. You know, back then you were gonna take an L, and if you got a camo that game, you were not gonna keep that camo because you left the game. All your progress that game was lost because you left the game. So people were more obligated to stay in games. But you know, in this Call of Duty, people are allowed to just leave whenever they want. You know, if they got a camo that they needed, they could literally hop out of the game right away, and it won't affect them at all. You know, they'll get a loss on the record, but they're still keeping that camo they unlocked. So, you know, this game is all over the place. It definitely needs a ton of improvement, and I want to be reeled back into Call of Duty. I want to be, you know, I want to look into Call of Duty again, like how I was when I was a little kid playing MW2, MW3, you know, Black Ops 1, zombies even. I love zombies. You know, just recently, after taking a look back at all these Call of Duties and comparing them side by side, this is just not what it used to be. This is not something that I enjoy anymore. It's so complex to the point where you can't even sometimes recognize it as Call of Duty, and that is what's hurting it the most. You know, sometimes I can compare this game. I feel like sometimes they're trying to be Battlefield by how big these maps are sometimes. Like, this map you're seeing right here, you're seeing, I believe this map is called Museum. This map, more than bigger than an average map, and it's a 6v6. People are playing 6v6. This should be maybe an 8v8 type of map, and especially with ranked play, they're including this map within ranked play, and ranked play is only 4v4. So why are we including such a big map on a ranked play, you know, competitive aspect, when I have to run across the whole map just to get to the point? If I'm playing hard point, search and destroy, playing control, you know, just, there's no need for it. There's a lot of spots in a lot of their maps that don't need to be there. They just need to take a lot of the aspects of, like, for example, you know, that one little shop in Museum at the very corner of the map, you know, that whole back area in Museum where it's just a bunch of cars in the parking lot. You know, it doesn't need to be there. It just makes the map unnecessarily big. And when you make a map unnecessarily big, or you just add a bunch of random spots, one, it increases camping for a lot of players to just sit in a corner and wait for you to pass by. And on top of that, people are not going to want to run around the entire map trying to find players, especially if it's only 6v6. I feel like I'm playing Stonehaven from Call of Duty Ghosts all over again. You know, all these maps are ginormous. They were straying away from the 3-lane, you know, map idea, or 3-lane map design. And when you stray away from that and you just add a bunch of random rooms for no reason, it just doesn't make sense. Why is there going to be a random room that I have to check just to see if there's a player in there, and I have to always watch my back? Am I playing like Valorant or CSGO to the point where I have to watch my back at all times if I enter a room? You know, the 3-lane map design is definitely where it's at when it comes to flow and playability. And I don't understand why they keep on straying away from it. It just hurts the game more. People don't want to play these giant maps. That's why people get excited when, you know, when they remaster Dome, when they remaster Shipment, Shoot House, all these maps that people actually love. Small, average maps that people love. But when you introduce maps that are giant for no reason, have random rooms for no reason, people do not like that. You know, people do not want to play a giant map. Especially if you're playing a map that has a giant roof over it. What is the point of getting a gunship if I can't even shoot people that are in the map because of the roof? Stop with these 5-10 attachments. There just doesn't need to be this many attachments on my gun, okay? I don't want to have to include and tune every single attachment just so I can get the best meta gun in the game. I want to be able to just put one attachment on the gun and give it style. You know, you were able to rock any gun back in the day, and if you were good at the game, you were gonna make the gun look good. Nowadays, it's just if you find the meta gun and you tune it perfectly, you're gonna have the best gun in the game, and you're gonna have to stick with that gun for however long you play it. Or however long you play the game. I really felt a letdown from playing this Warzone, man. Like, there's no loadouts, barely any cash was spawning anywhere. It just wasn't fun. You die so fast. If you're not looking at a player and you're getting shot from behind, you're dead right away. You can't even react to it. There's so much unnecessary stuff they either took out of the game, they introduced into the game to make it worse, when they had a great formula to begin with. Warzone was so successful for a reason. You know, people love playing Verdansk. People love playing Rebirth. People love playing Fortune's Keep. Why? It's because the game was so simple. You know, you were able to buy a loadout whenever you wanted if you had the cash for it. Cash was everywhere, so you were able to get your loadout fairly easy, and you didn't have to rely so much on the ground loot. Nowadays, when you pick up ground loot, it's just not good. The way they build these guns for some reason and put them in the Warzone too, I have no idea what these devs were thinking. I literally have to get my loadout in order to win the game. So back in the original Warzone, I was able to just pick up a gun off the floor and still shred with it. You know, I was able to pick up an Otis 9 and shred with it from ground loot. But now I have to run around with some type of sniper, running around with the Victus XMR, because that's the only gun I can find in my building. When for some reason guns are so hard to find in buildings, it's just insane. And on top of that, snipers in Warzone, they don't even one-shot headshot. So what is the point of running or even picking up a sniper in the game? You know, if you can't even one-shot headshot, what's the point? You're supposed to be rewarded for getting these kills. You know, people love the aspect of getting one-shot headshots and getting these nasty clips when they're wiping out a whole squad by getting one-shot headshots. But now, they took that out of the game. They even took it out in the original Warzone. But why? People love that. That's what made Warzone blow up in the first place. People love seeing these clips. But you can't get these clips anymore. And I just wish that, you know, they were able to go back to the old Call of Duty ways where everybody loved the rhythm of it. Everybody was able to just get an AC-130, get a Predator missile, have all of this count towards your kill streak. I mean, even if you were to make the new kill streak 35 kills, that would still be fine. You know, people are just going to run Predator missile, AC-130, chopper gunner. People like getting these nukes, but nowadays, people barely drop nukes. You have to sweat your balls off to drop a nuke in this game. You know, back then on MW2 in 2009 and MW3, when you were able to get a Moab, it wasn't that hard to get a nuke. I mean, back then, to get a nuke was, I believe, only 24 kills. But now it's been raised to 30, since, you know, people are progressively getting better at the game. It's hard to get it when you're playing these giant maps. The guns are, you may die from, you know, somebody camping in a corner in a room that you forgot to check. Or, you know, you're not rocking the meta gun. You know, if you're not rocking the meta gun, then you're not going to win the gunfight. If I'm shooting the guy first most of the time in this game, sometimes I still lose the gunfight. I shot the guy first. I'm even shooting him in the head, and I'm still losing the gunfight, and I'm landing all shots. That they were planning on making a big DLC expansion for this game in 2023, but they just recently changed it to a whole new title of a Call of Duty. See, that itself, that doesn't need to be there. When we found out that they were going to be going on a 2-year cycle, we thought they were going to stay on a 2-year cycle, but when you're telling us that there's going to be potentially a whole brand new DLC where it's going to be even paid, where you're going to have to pay another $70 for DLC of maps, maybe for multiplayer, and now all of a sudden they're just making a whole new Call of Duty title, it's very disappointing. You know, we wanted to wait at least 2 years for a brand new Call of Duty game. That way we can actually have something fresh, something new. Give them enough time to make a new Call of Duty, something more innovative. That way that brings more people in. But what are they doing? I don't know what they're planning on doing in Activision. These are my thoughts on, Call of Duty nowadays. I love Call of Duty, but, as of recently, it's just something that's not for me. I enjoy playing other games that, single-player games. Overwatch I've been playing here and there. But again, Call of Duty, it's just, right now, it's very, very stale. And I do wish that, they come up with something that can help it in the future, or even right now. Just listen to the fans, man. You guys listen to the fans, and it'll bring more people back in. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. Again, this was just a commentary video over some gameplay that I recorded. I hope you guys enjoyed, and let me know what you guys think about this video down in the comments below. So I love you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you all have a great rest of your day. Bye bye.